Hey everyone, and welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. This week we are going back to school after the winter break with guest clinician band director Rick Schwartz. We'll also find out what made Bobby say,
"Tarred and feathered" right on the spot.
And why Jack said,
and it is not justified, you are getting pulled off the site after scores are inputted in. That's like a reason to get fired. So
all this and more on this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Hey everyone, we are back for another exciting episode this week, and we are so excited for our guest clinician this week as we talk all about coming back to school after that nice long winter break, which isn't always long enough if you ask me. You know, there are a lot of moving parts that start really kicking into gear, whether it's multiple winter programs, spring trip, getting ready for fall marching band. There's a lot going on at this time of year. So before we see who's on the sidelines this week, pause this. Go subscribe, turn on notifications on your favorite listening apps, write us a review, and make sure you share this with a friend because we can always use some sharing around. Do you have a question or a good topic to talk about? You can email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on social media and shoot us a little DM if you want to slide on in there. We even have a form now you can fill out if you would like to be a guest on our show. So make sure you check that out. We love having people on the podcast. So check that out. Our link in bio on our social media has all that information as well. You could also just take out your phone and record yourself with a little video. Send it to us and maybe you'll see yourself on our podcast. All right, let's see who's on the sidelines this week. Jack, I haven't seen you in forever, but I have been seeing you all over social media with lots of drum major camps going on. How have those been?
oh my gosh, Jackie, it's so great to see you. You know, it's nice to get away from school and then go back home to do just a little bit of downtime. But my downtime is running around Northern California and teaching a bunch of drum major camps. So I had the privilege of doing a Valley Regional camp in the Central Valley of California for our drum majors who are preparing for L pattern. It's their individual solo competition season. Then I went out to the Bay Area, just outside the Bay Area, actually, in Santa Cruz to go teach there as well, too, to do a pop-up camp there. So had a lot of students bringing a lot of energy, and we're really excited for the winter drum major season here on the West Coast. And the circuits are getting ramped up. We just had judges training for the Southern California drum major L pattern circuit. So we're ready to go and things are full steam ahead.
Ooh, nice. Well, Bobby, here another face I haven't seen in a while. Are you deep into Winter Guard orders over at Show Day Designs?
Hi, Jackie. Things are pretty wild and crazy where I am, but things are good. Lots of orders are going out every day, so keep an eye on your emails, friends. You'll have your tracking numbers soon.
Woohoo! Getting them tracking numbers out there. And if you order through Guard Closet, you get your tracking numbers from me. So huzzah! Woody, how was that NFL Drumline episode for you? I heard it was amazing.
Things are going well. I got my 3 ensembles up. They're going. That matter of fact, this weekend just finished my wind program show, so we're cruising right along. 2 more shows to finish. Back to school. Boom, boom.
It is that time, and that's why we brought on our incredible guest clinician for this week. So I think you are the perfect person for this. I know Rick and we have not met or talked before this, but I have read all about you and I've seen your TikTok. So you guys
let's
also
put this on pause for a moment, Jackie. I'm sorry. Hey, Rick, why don't you pull that shirt up a little bit? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, go birds. Go
Moving
Birds.
on. Moving on. Moving on.
We got to make sure we cover all the important things. Yes. So, any of our listeners out there, if you guys are on TikTok and you have followed NJ Band Director, I assume that stands for New Jersey Band Director.
Yes.
You do every trend. You do every game filter. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the podcast, Rick Schwartz.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Now I'm really excited to be here. But thank you for having me.
Well, we have to start off with a little tradition. We
Okay.
got to put you on the spot as quick as we can because that's how we work in the marching band world. So, I was informed that you were briefed on how the 32 count life story works.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go ahead and just jump right into it and give you 8 off the Met. And then you're just going to tell us about everything in your life from birth to now.
I'll do my best. So I grew up in the Philadelphia area. Go Birds. I went to Westchester University where I marched with the incomparable Golden Rams. I spent some time at Temple as the grad assistant with their marching band. And then for the last 20 years or so, I've been a high school band director in North Jersey and South Jersey, not at the same time. And I've got a wife and 2 daughters. I think I did it in under 32 counts.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I relate to the 2 kids thing because I just recently had my second kid, which is why I haven't hardly seen anybody lately. Been busy. How?
Congratulations.
Thanks. How did you go about starting your TikTok? Like, what went into that? What were you thinking?
So I don't think I was thinking anything at the time. Originally, and you could ask some former students of mine, I was dead set against TikTok. This is not the thing that I want to do. And I think we all had a hard 2020, and I was always looking for something new and something that I can bring to the table. And I just started using TikTok as how can I connect better with students? What other tips and tricks could I get from the app and from other content creators? And as I was scrolling videos and, over a couple of weeks, I was like, I think that I could do this. And my main goal was first, can I help another teacher, whether that's a starting teacher, whether that's a student that's in college wanting to be an educator? What can I do to assist? And I started making videos with those. And well, I didn't get any traction. There was no views. There were no follows. So we went into some of the trends and we went into some of the funny things. And so I started doing some of those types of videos. And I did a conducting video that kind of took off, that really went viral. I was able to get some more followers from that. And then I've just been going and going and going. And I tried to stay a lot within the education aspect of TikTok and the music education world. But sometimes you got to do some fun things to just get your mind off of all of those. So lately there's been a lot of like football TikToks that I do. And yeah, I do a lot of the games and all that kind of stuff. It just kind of gets my mind away from what I do on a daily basis.
Wait, so Rick, what exactly was that conducting video? Like, describe for our audience what it was.
Oh yeah, it was the Dies Irae from the University of Auburn. And actually a former student of mine said, you need to do this trend. So I did it, and it was like I went gung-ho, drum major, conducting, and kind of was like, this is how I would do it as opposed to other people. And it just started collecting views. I actually got somebody screenshotted it and put it with Auburn's TikTok page. Like they used that video as well.
Yeah, like as a drum major judge, I gotta get a look at this. I'll make sure to get back to you on that execution.
That's fine. It is pinned if you want to see it. It's one of the first videos right at the top, so you won't miss it.
We love drum major representation. We love that drum major representation.
Yeah.
You're going to get some scores back. He's going to send you a little judge's tape about your TikTok. Your TikTok is it's like 15 seconds, and then the judge's tape is like a minute long.
I get to do the recap, right?
Yeah.
So what's been the funniest thing that has happened to you since you started the TikTok?
So I don't know really what my students think about me being on TikTok. Lately they've been asking, what are you thinking about with the ban possibly happening? But there was one moment we were sitting at a jazz festival in the cafeteria listening to judges' tapes after our performance, and some random mom walked up to me and goes, "Are you NJ Band Director on TikTok?" All of my students fell on the floor. They had no idea how to handle this situation. They were just ready to be like, you know what? We're never living this down ever again. So I think being noticed by, a random mom at a festival really was, for me, one of the funnier moments.
That's cool because I've experienced that with a friend of mine, actually a former student, and now he's pretty big on the YouTube thing. ECM, Eric Carr.
Yeah.
And, we're sitting watching the show together, and some kid runs up to him and he's like, oh my God, can I get your autograph? I turn and look at Eric. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? The world's going crazy. You're just Eric.
And we've had him on the podcast now, too.
Rick, has anything sort of strange ever happened, either while filming or the aftermath of a filming or a video being out there?
I don't know if anything really strange has ever happened. I mean, there have been times where like students have walked into the band room while I was filming videos, which tends to be like a little awkward. I do think one of the stranger things I think that might have happened though is I took the family to Disney World, and I also do some other content, some family. Being a girl dad, I really like to, also showcase the things I do with my daughters. But we were in Disney a couple of years ago, and we met Peter Pan, and I just started filming. And I thought it was the most like heartfelt moment. First character you're meeting in Disney World on your first Disney World trip. Thought it was absolutely amazing. And I was like, you know what? Let me just post this, and whatever happens, happens. It currently has over 9 million views.
Nice.
And now, yeah, I'm still shocked that it's like every now and then, like I get some more likes and more follows from it. But I just thought of it as like a heartfelt moment. And I'm like, people are really like going kind of crazy over this video on both sides of the spectrum. Like there were some not so great comments, but most of it is like, oh my God, she's so adorable. And what an amazing moment that she was able to have.
Yeah, those so haters and those trolls come out, and you're just like,
oh
why?
My God, they're so
why
bad.
do you waste your energy?
So yeah, so
that's what this platform is for, haters.
Yeah.
So what is that been like balancing like millions of people being able to engage with your content? Was that kind of a shock at first for you?
I think so. I don't know. I don't really look at it as like all these people are looking at like our lives. It's just I put my life out there, and if people want to watch it, then great. And if they don't, we'll just swipe to the next video. But I do appreciate when I get comments from, high school students asking about, I want to go into music education, and, what can I do? What kind of tips can you give me? Or I just had somebody email me not that long ago about what tips do I have for auditions. So, I just try to kind of talk them off the ledge a little bit and help them prepare for what's to come.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I need to ask you one of my favorite questions to ask before we get to talking about all the back to school stuff. What part of the marching arts are you?
Well, I mean, if you haven't been able to see, I've got a big personality. That's the part. I'm the trumpet section. I'm the trumpet soloist. I'm loud. I'm energetic. I put it out there for you to see everything.
I love that. The entire trumpet section and the trumpet soloist.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to get to talking back to school in just a moment, but first, let's do the news. Woody, what you got for us?
Oh, Jackie, we got a little bit of shakeup in the DCI world. The judge's administrator has changed hands. John Phillips, who has held the role since 2000, and he was the longest serving judge administrator, is stepping down. And to fill that role this year will be Julie Davin, and she will be our new judging administrator.
25 years is a long time to have one job. Just saying.
It's a wrong time to have this job. A lot to do, huh?
No, it's a long time to have the job.
Oh,
he was there for 25 years.
Well, I can't hear, Jackie. Yeah, all that loud drumming, it will do it for you. But 20, that is a long time since 2000, right?
Yeah.
Not to sound gray or anything, but normally by now they'd be dead. I don't know. Oh, I got a double ding dong. So the bulk of Julie's experience is in the marching arts, and it comes with the WGI stuff that she's been putting in and has been a performer and an educator and a judge for over 30 years. She was inducted to the Percussion Hall of Fame for WGI, which is fantastic. The president of the organization's board of directors, 2023 and 24. She's a member of the faculty for Tennessee State University, and hey, this lady is she's packing it. If you want to know more, they do an interview. If you want to know more about her, get to meet her up personal, as personal as you can get. There is a YouTube out of an interview, so you can check that out. I found it to be very interesting. It was very good.
Definitely earned that spot. Well, Rick, what have you brought for us for our news section today?
So I have that there is some new proposed changes for DCI coming in 2025. Out of 7 competitive rules presented, 3 were passed through the instructors caucus to be voted on by the DCI voting membership. And out of those 3, 2 were passed. One had some modified language, and past rules will go into effect for the 2025 season. But a lot of those rules will be talked about in a future episode coming up.
Yeah, I think we have a whole episode for that.
Yeah. And I also have that there have been some DCI membership fills open board of director seats. So there are 3 new directors. Ronnie Plausis is the at-large director. Jonathan Powell is the elected director. And Vicki McFarland is also an elected director.
No one called me.
They didn't call me either, Woody.
Another ding? Another ding?
Bobby, how about yours?
Well, things are very interesting in New Orleans these days. I actually was just down there last week for my birthday, and that's, as we all know, the January 1st is when that horrible incident took place on Bourbon Street that killed, I think, about 15 people. Well, apparently a lady in New Orleans decided to drive right through a marching band practicing on the street. And even when the directors tried to stop her, she became violent they have this woman under arrest. They don't seem to know what the motive is, but the motive is irrelevant. What was she thinking? And the city has been through enough already. It's just, having been down there, people were saying, the first couple of days after it was just like sort of a gray cloud hung over the city. And so, let's they're about to celebrate Mardi Gras and get all of that going. So let's just send some love to New Orleans.
Definitely. I hope that they can hold things together down there. There's going to be a lot of tourists coming in, and if there isn't a lot of tourists coming in, that's probably going to hurt their economy for the year that they're planning on. Whew. How many of you guys have ever blocked cars for your students?
So every time
we are defenders, man.
Yeah, every time when we walked from the band room to the football stadium, and as all of you know, the parking lots are always insane. We've got a wall of parents, and not because I don't think the drivers are trying to be violent or crazy. It's just it's scary, So all the time. We talked, I think, Jackie, were you on the Pride episode? Maybe not, but there's always in those parades, you're blocking somebody from cars or spectators or something.
Well, as old guys, there's always a story. Our problem is you don't have enough drummers throwing drumsticks at cars that pass through the lots. That's what we used to do.
I don't know if I should say this, but there has been a hood or two in my college days dented by a rifle butt.
There you go, see? There you go. Show some fire.
Guilty of that too.
You just got to do what you got to do sometimes, like we were saying earlier. Well, and speaking of got to do what you got to do, there is a former Oregon Crusaders drum major, and I really hope I pronounce her name correctly. It's Anna Quinamone, or Quinamone. Anyway, she has been doing what she has to do. She is a wildland firefighter who rappels from helicopters. And she actually had an interview with Dan Potter over on the DCI social media about her perspective on the California wildfires. So she's not currently involved, but she does have a lot of experience of that type of firefighting that they're doing right now. And she really did a good job of letting things in, letting us have that perspective and letting us understand kind of what these people are going through right now, fighting those fires over in the LA area.
It's awful, 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 awful. Oh, not another ding.
They're all for you today, Woody.
I'm not coming back anymore, Jackie. This is my last episode.
No! I don't want it. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to talk a little bit more about the drum major adjudicator training that we just had in Southern California. I called in virtually since I'm currently in Michigan. I'm in medical school. One of the great things about being in medical school, the one that I chose, is all my vacations are every month. So instead of a summer break, we have basically vacations off every 5 weeks, and they all line up with all the competitions down in Southern California and up in Northern California. So still able to make
perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect, right? So I was able to make the drum major adjudicator meeting, and that was awesome. We brought in people from both Northern California and Southern California to talk about basically what the verbiage is on the sheets that we really need to be stressing. We really had a great conversation. I wish we'd recorded it actually, on the concept and the fallacy of focusing on spinning over having perfect execution and marching and deportment underneath. So that's been a really nice conversation to come back to as an instructor. And it was just great to see so many faces from the drum major world on the West Coast come together and really want to build up the system that we have in place to provide the best quality adjudication possible for drum majors in California. So it's been awesome. If not, I'm just going to send a plug right now. Go check out American Drum Major Competitions. If you're interested in competing, we also have an online division. So if any of those drum majors out there want to give it a try and send in a video for either conducting or for L pattern, feel free to reach out to them. So yeah.
Can I send in my video from TikTok?
Absolutely. We'll set
Perfect. Perfect.
Set that up. Let's make those connections. All right, everybody, let's get out all the stuff out of the band closet so we can get it all cleaned out from the fall. We will be right back with everyone as we go back to the school after the holidays.
Celebrating its 25th anniversary, Guard Closet was founded as a consignment shop in 2000. Since then, it has grown to become your one-stop shop for the marching arts.
Do you need consignment uniforms and flags for your color guard, marching band, or drumline? We have thousands of sets of consignments in stock and ready to ship.
Do you need show design and custom choreography? Our designers have years of experience in the marching arts.
Do you need to sell your items and clear out your storage areas? We take in more than 600 sets of consignments each year and return hundreds of thousands of dollars to our consigners for their sales.
Do you need to have your students order shoes, gloves, and other equipment? We can set up a microsite for easy student ordering of a wide variety of items.
Do you need custom costumes or flags? We can help get you great designs from our team through top vendors like Showday Designs.
Have you listened to our podcast On a Water Break? Weekly episodes and bonus content keep you entertained and informed with what's going on in the marching arts.
For over 25 years, Guard Closet has been here to help. Check us out at guardcloset.com or follow us on social media.
Okay, we are back. I still think the parents need to come in and get all this extra Gatorade to take it out to the basketball concessions. We are all going back to school, and there's definitely a bunch of different things that start happening around this time in the world of the marching arts. Bobby, I want to start with you because I know you are knee deep in Winter Guard orders. I know there are people out there who haven't even placed their Winter Guard orders. They are emailing constantly. What do you want to say to them?
Everyone is doing their best. It's that time of the year, and it's interesting because being a coach of my own program and then doing this work in the industry, it's sort of like, everyone's like, our first show is this weekend. I'm like, wait, people go out on January 18th. Like, the first time I'm ever out is like February 10th. But anyway, but I get it, and it's funny because it's a longer season than the other seasons, but it seems like the turnaround to get things done seems to be very quick. So, but yeah, everyone's, we're trucking along. Sequin jumpsuits flying out the door as fast as we can get them. And if you still need something, you can go online. There's some in-stock stuff. Still, there's some new items, I believe, that are on our website. So you can check that out. If you're looking for something custom, be prepared to get it in March at this point. But that's just sort of where we are. But things are going great. And we'll be back at WGI this year as a gold level sponsor. I'm sure we're still going to do some kind of partnership like we did this past year with On a Water Break. And so looking forward to that as well.
I love that. Yeah, I was thinking about it, and like normally when we have our competition team, we have our dress rehearsal like the first weekend in January after the first. Like that's normally our dress rehearsal weekend. So it's like, wow. It's crazy
just everyone's
you don't go till February.
I guess everybody's on a different schedule. I mean, those of us on the East Coast or the Mid-Atlantic are familiar with a circuit whose championships are always the first weekend in May. So I think that and they're held on the Jersey Shore. I think here in Greater Philadelphia, we're just a little more not as ready to go on January 1st. Yeah, it is.
Wow. Because we end we generally end the weekend before WGI championships is our circuit championship.
Yeah, those extra couple weeks, they are brutal. Brutal. Another day.
What's going on in percussion land this time of year, Woody? When do you guys start out with your season?
Well, actually it depends on if you're scholastic or independent. Because most of the here in the Jersey, I guess you could say tri-state area, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, most of the gyms are not big enough to house WGI independent groups. The floors are too big. So, and it's very expensive to move out and do a local show because there's nobody to compete against in this whole Philadelphia area. So basically the independent groups go to the regionals, which means on a week, off 4 weeks, on a week, all 4 weeks,
Mhm.
and you may do 3 regionals and championships. The scholastic thing is a little bit more in line with Bobby. I know my program that I just took over, it's going to be early for them, but we're coming out the first week in February. And I'm still thinking, oh my God, all the way to May, because you got other stuff to think about. I'm already past the indoor season. My kids are just getting started.
Jack, I'm
Thank
so
you for the
glad
phone.
you're here because I feel like otherwise I would be the only non-Jersey Shore person.
Hey, the West Coast, or I kind of represent the Midwest and the West Coast out this
Yeah.
point for the podcast. So trying to balance this out on the West Coast side of things. Yeah, gosh, coming back into the second half of the school year, I mean, all eyes are going from parade season for here on West Coast for our parade bands, and then we're going into winter solo drum major competition. So I was telling you guys about that. One of the things that I did this season that I wish I'd done in other seasons is I went back to the score sheet, and I decided to dissect that as an instructor and no longer as a judge. Like I feel like those perspectives are very different, right? Like because
that's
you're putting a
valuable,
number
though.
down as an adjudicator, right? And you basically see it as you see it as sort of ticks, right? You see each one of those little words as like, okay, someone could get this wrong, and like I tried to look at it this time from my instructional point of view. I was like, okay, where can I optimize? Like how can I optimize this? So I think, for any of our instructors, this goes beyond just like drum major training. Like for any instructor out there, please go back and read your sheets every year. Like I feel like that's worth its weight in gold before you start designing. It really helped me out this year, and I feel like that's like one of the things that like isn't really talked about a whole lot. Is like they're spelling it out for you in wheat. How are you going to optimize those words, right?
I remember as a young instructor, the first time I had that realization of like, oh, the judge feedback is actually going to help us get better. Keep in mind, I was like 18 or something, but it's like, oh, the judge feedback, it helps us get better. That's crazy.
Jack, you're going to get us all in trouble using that bad word tick. Oh,
I know, right?
How dare you?
I know.
Another
room for improvement.
Rick, what are the band directors of the world doing now that winter concert season's over?
Hibernating.
I'm joking.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to rest up as much as I possibly can to get ready for that push in the spring. But a lot of what we're doing now is just getting back into the swing of things, reteaching all of those bad habits that kids kind of jump back into after winter break. But I'm getting ready for festivals coming up in a couple months. Jazz band is starting up, and probably going to start some fall planning pretty soon.
Love that jazz band season. Yes, I do. Not enough.
A lot of fun.
Not enough teams participate, right?
Not enough. Exactly. Yeah.
You guys do competitive jazz bands?
We do. Last year was, I think, our second year back into it since COVID. Had a fairly successful year last year, and we're looking to go out and do a few more festivals this year.
So, new year, new you. What are we improving upon for this coming year? Rick, why don't you kick it off?
So I know for me, I'm always looking to try and just get a jump on things. And the last few years, and again, since COVID, things move a little bit slower. I really want to get a jump on next year's fall season. I've been listening to shows and trying to get some ideas, but it's putting together that first staff meeting with my team to start designing next year's show and just really get the ball rolling. And hopefully, I can also use that as a recruitment tool of like, hey guys, look, this is the music that we're going to do, and get them really excited and pumped and ready for the fall season or even the summer season.
The summer season. Ding dong.
Yeah.
Ding dong.
Band camp, what?
No, we start before band camp. We're jumping at the bit right as school lets out.
Nice.
We start up 2 nights a week. Yeah.
They don't summer season in Missouri?
It's complicated here. And it's definitely, we don't have like a marching circuit specifically, so it's different from school to school too.
Well, it's not a circuit for us. It's just let's just knock off the rust while we can before we have to do it at band camp, kind of a thing.
We do training camps, and actually, the school that I am working for, I have worked for a really long time, and you guys have probably seen if you go on my Spintronics social media, I post about them from time to time. My Ava kids, they do like a training camps during summer school. So the students like get to go in and get their summer school credit, and that, you know, it helps the programs at the school, and that's cool. And that's in June also. So they do that. And then in July, end of July, beginning of August, around here is band camp time. There are some parade competitions in the summer, from what I understand, but I've never been involved in them.
Good for you.
Bobby, when should people be getting their designs in? Like, what's a good timeline for that?
Well, we're past the indoor season stuff, so that should have been in November at the latest. But if you still need something, you know, see what your manufacturing friends can do for you. As far as marching band, I mean, if you should have a good idea by like May, I would say. I know that usually you have final numbers. I know this as a band director myself. You have your final numbers usually like maybe right a week or so before school lets out. I know that's when we ask for final commitments. And so as long as you have everything sort of going, the ball's rolling in, let's say May, early mid-May, and then by the time designs are finalized and wrapped up, you're ready to give us numbers in early June, mid-June, then you're good to go for the fall season. But anecdotally, I would say, because I know all of us marching arts people are going year-round. You know, I think about my friends that do competitive cheer. That's another thing that goes year-round, you know. And so I would say the thing we should all try to do is enjoy relaxation when we can and be better at that as well. Find those. It's okay to take a Sunday afternoon and not think about your marching band or your color guard or your drum line and spend it with family or friends or going for a walk or grabbing a coffee. So anecdotally, I would say that.
It's probably good advice. I wish I could go back to 20-year-old Jackie and say, hey, just slow down a little bit. It's okay. Okay.
Well, it's only 2 years ago, right, Jackie?
Oh, of course. Of course. Just 2 years ago. Only. Yeah, and my favorite, like as a choreographer, I've had programs contact me in like the last week of August, first week of September, and saying, hey, we need choreography. Can you send it to us tomorrow? And that doesn't work. And, we do our best, as we were saying before. Everybody's out here doing their best, and we're going to try and help you out as much as we can. But really, my favorite programs are already like sending me drill in like June, so I can start working on choreography in June, and I don't have to do so many rewrites. I think that's something that bugs me the most, is like sometimes I go into a program and they expect me to write the choreography without the drill, which is totally possible. But once the drill comes through, you're going to be making adjustments like crazy. So why not get some drill to me first so I can write choreography that's not going to have to get changed as much later? That would be my big piece of advice. So, New Year, New Jackie is get your drill done earlier. And honestly, I feel like the drill designers are getting paid the big bucks more so than the choreographers. So,
it's been that way
put
forever.
them on that timeline. Yes. What about New Year, New Jack? What do you think?
New Year, New Jack for me. The big thing is I've been prepping for music months in advance now. So basically, for our students' individual solo routines, their music's already been edited, already done. And for the master's students, so there's 3 levels: there's novice, majors, and then masters. And so that is like the epitome of like what a solo competition should be like. So they're doing cinematic music, right? They're doing the full gambit for their drum major routine. And so right now it's selecting music for state championships, because one of the little tricks that I always have up my sleeve is I always switch the music for state so no one knows what it's going to be. And so basically right now it's just locking and loading that set of music in and basically getting it repped for the next 3 or 4 months, so when they go out to state they have the best shot possible. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Music editing is an amazing skill to have in our art form, and you can win and lose competitions on music. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. If you get somebody who just like sits there and cuts and pastes together and doesn't really know what they're doing,
right? You can hear it. You can hear it in the audio.
New year, new Woody.
New year, new Woody. I think I want to work on getting the recruitment thing down earlier.
That's a good one.
I still have this phobia from, I guess, when I was 20-year-old Woody. I hate to be told no. So I almost pushed the recruiting thing off to the very last minute because I can't stand some, Mr. Woodward, I can't. Oh, you're killing me, kid. All right. But it's something I plan to crack down on. Like we said, the winter season is so long that that's only going to come like 2 weeks after the winter season is over. It really jams up on the kid, but it's got to be done because new year, new Woody. Yeah.
Get out there and get those kids to band.
I'm 20.
I feel like all of these are attacking me because I wait till the last second to do recruitment, and I'm one of those directors that send their designs and what they need for flags and uniforms like end of July, middle of August, and I wait forever to do it. I know, bad director on my part, but yeah, definitely things I'm trying to fix.
It's not your problem, it's the text problem.
I think too, though, it's
I don't know how that one, man.
If you want to open up that conversation, we could open up that conversation.
Yeah, okay, that's another episode.
Who's paying the bill? That's whose problem it is. That's who's paying.
You're right.
Me.
It's true. It's true. I think it's a bit of a cultural thing too, because there was a time when you didn't need to do all this stuff so far in advance because everything you did with your band was all local and right there, and you didn't get new uniforms for your color guard every year, and you didn't get new flags all the time, and you just had like your one set of school color stuff, and that was what you had. So
unfortunately, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and now we got more junk to do, and somehow it's not staying the same. So we need a new phrase. New year, new phrase.
So what are we not doing this time of year that we should be? Like, and not necessarily just us here. Sorry. I don't want you guys to feel called out. If you do feel called out, I'm sorry. That's not my intention. But what do you feel like we should be doing that maybe directors and instructors are not thinking about?
For me, I already pretty much know the show that I want to do, and finding a way to get the props ready for band camp instead of a month after band camp starts. I really should be doing that. It's probably not going to happen, but the dream would be.
Yeah, I'm the same with Woody. It's just making sure that you're planning and doing the things that are going to set you up for the most success that you're going to have for the fall. I know for me, this past season was a nightmare with our props and our uniforms taking way too long than they should have. And I think that's just us waiting until the last second to finally decide what our show was going to be and designing everything, as opposed to why didn't we take care of this in February and March when we had a lot more downtime, as opposed to we're trying to get through rehearsals and everything else and teach all the things that we needed to do. So Yeah, right. I would tell directors, like, get on it now. Like, start that planning, figure it out, before the end of February. So that gives you 3 or 4 more months to really get into it before summer starts.
Do you have any TikToks on this topic?
You know what? I doubt it. There might be from a couple of years ago. I tend to kind of recycle as much as I can, but I could probably go through my band director tips folder and see what's in there. But it's definitely something I could put out in the next week if TikTok is still here in the next week.
True.
Yeah, how about that, right?
Yeah.
How about that?
I think everybody's bluffing.
I don't know what to think, but I can't imagine it just completely going away.
Ni kwe Schwabusha TikTok. That's my Mandarin.
All right. We're going to have to go make some TikToks at the concession stand because it's time to switch shifts down there. So we'll see you back in a minute.
Marching by Montez is a visual design business based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but provides services to ensembles all across the country. Our services include custom drill and staging for marching bands, indoor winds, indoor percussion, and winter guards, as well as custom band and guard choreography for all 3 winter idioms and marching bands. We now offer program coordination for ensembles throughout the U.S. and custom graphic design for all of your uniform, props, flags, and floor needs. In-person and virtual program consultation options are now available through Marching by Montez, as well as custom sound design for your indoor winds backing tracks, winter guard soundtrack, and show soundscape needs. Visit us at marchingbymontez.com, contact us at joey@marchingbymontez.com, and check us out on social media at Marching by Montez.
Hey everybody, we are starting a new segment today. It's called 60-Second Tech Block. So,
Yay!
Yeah. Each week, one of our hosts or guest clinicians is going to be forced, we are going to force them to give a 60-second tech session with the section that needs it the most after our final run. So, basically, our special tech of the week has to choose 3 topics that they think they can give a 60-second nonstop speech about, and maybe it will help some of our listeners out there. And this week we thought the drum majors are the ones who needed a little boost. So Jack, you are up, and I will say, we warned him in advance. So
Yeah.
it's not just coming out of nowhere. But Jack,
Yes.
you said your 3 best topics were, number 1, maintaining strong marching and deportment while performing. Number 2, how to be loud as a drum major when you're a quiet person. Number 3, if it can't be executed, don't do it in performance. So, what do you guys want to vote? 1, 2, or 3?
I like number 3.
Yeah, I guess 3 sounds good.
I do too.
You could tell that's the band director in effect right there, right?
See, I was going to say 2, but y'all...
Interesting.
Okay, you all got me. Okay.
I just need new ways to tell my kids don't do it. So, the more ammo I can get, the better.
Bobby?
Just do TikTok for that, huh?
Do you want to be our timer?
I've got it. We're ready to go.
Okay, Jack.
This is an honor. This is an honor.
Jack, are you ready?
Let's kick down the door on this. Let's go.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
60-second tech block.
All right.
60-second tech block.
All right, here we go. Okay, so we're on 60 seconds right now. So why, if you can't execute it, don't do it in competition? The reason why is you need to realize that competition is a game, right? You are being given a number based on what you show a judge for roughly 2 minutes. And that judge will remember the first thing and the last thing you do. And so basically, you want to show them in that time window as much excellence as possible because they're looking to provide that, to provide feedback while also acknowledging what is being done right. And the more you
30
can show that
seconds.
you are doing things right, the better you will be at getting a higher box score, right? So just from a competitive standpoint, that's what you want to do. And so there's also a bigger scale picture of like execution over content, right? It'll make you feel more confident being able to do something that you know how to do versus gambling on something that you don't know how to do. So really make sure that you can save yourself and your competitor, or yourself and your band when doing that. Yeah, there you go.
1.
Okay, Jack, that was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, good job.
I don't know about that. Hey.
And it's time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Since Jack just did that lovely 60-second tech block, I'm going to let him have a little break. Bobby, do you want to start us off with What Are We Doing?
Well, what are we doing with trying to make rehearsals happen in what is, like, so far at least where we are, some pretty snowy weather? I mean, we've been blessed with some pretty mild winters, at least here, I think, on the East Coast and in the Mid-Atlantic. But these last couple months, we've been hit with a couple of dicey situations. So, we can't control the weather. We know that, and we all commiserate together over the subject. And God bless our friends in Southern California. And there was some Midwest storms that hit through pretty badly. But how do we keep our spirits high, when we know we really want to be at that rehearsal, but we just can't be, That's the hardest thing, I guess, during this time of the year.
We get ice. Like we had a snowstorm this last week, but normally we don't get snow, we get ice, and it's like inches of ice. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's ugly.
It is. And the number of times we have had performers trying to make it to rehearsal on ice and just, you don't want to take those chances. What are we doing?
Well, just to make you feel better, we have snow that turns to ice, so don't worry about it.
Woody, why don't you take the next one? What are we doing?
What are we doing? First off, let me just say, Jackie, this is a really tough segment for me because I'm not a negative guy. It always just seems negative. I don't know. But I'm going to say, for what are we doing? Why are we making these competition seasons last so long?
Yeah!
Oh my goodness. The fall is like 3 weeks. The winter is like 10 months. Oh my gosh.
Is it like the third quarter if you have a semester school year with quarters? Isn't third quarter like the longest quarter also?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Because someone did it and then we never changed it, and that's just the way we live now.
So, Rick, you kind of see how this rolls. What are we doing?
So this one hits a little too close to home for me, but what are we doing ending championship seasons with ties? Like there are circuits. I know there are circuits out there that there are things in place where if there's a tie at the end, like a certain caption will make the win. Why isn't that across the board everywhere?
I was going to say, we just did judges training this last week that I was in on, and we discussed that. Like, ties are not allowed.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to be. No ties allowed. Make a decision. Somebody was better than somebody.
Well, and even in my own division at my own championships, my team happily and luckily and wonderfully finished first, but there was a tie for second place. was like,
oh my gosh.
and there was, I guess, 15 or 17 bands, but I mean, come on. And yeah, there should be tiebreaker. I think there should be tiebreakers. There's not going to be two Miss Americas winning the Miss America pageant. So what's the tie-breaking rule? You know, there's not going to be two teams winning the Super Bowl. So you'd think you could sort of figure it out, I would think.
Somebody had a member out there who sneezed.
So one of the things that I think is really interesting that you guys are bringing up is this was brought up at our judges training as well too. And so we now have a clause in the drum major adjudicator packet that if someone ties during a review and it is not justified, you are getting pulled off the site after scores are inputted in. That's like a reason to get fired. So anyway, we kind of
there you go. There you go. Proactive.
Tarred and feathered right on the spot.
Can you send that to Rick's circuits so that he can
please
send that to his competitions?
We don't joke about ties. Yeah, no. Yeah, you cannot do that, especially championship review. Like, how can I would not feel comfortable as a judge if I even came close. Like, you know, like sure if they came close, they came close, but like I would never tie. I would never tie those top placements. Like, why would you even do that?
I think it just worked out that the math for those two groups at the bottom of the sheets were the tie. Right. But the worst part about it is when you come in third place by 0.1. So, that's the rough part. But yeah, 2 years in a row, you can't end in ties. You just got to pick a winner, make it happen, have a tiebreaker.
There should be a provision. Clause. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you can always fall back on execution. Like, that's like literally the simplest thing. Go to the execution subcaption. That should be weighted more than your content, right? Like, and base it off of that. And then go down the list based on, like, if there's a tie in that subcaption, go to the next. So anyway.
I don't know. For myself, I've found that when you find that your numbers are not right that way, especially if you have 3 or 4 groups that are about the same caliber and you did what you thought was right, but then like Rick said, at the bottom there's a tie. So now you go and you mess with one number, and then boom, 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 tie. And then someone's in your ear. Come on, we need your numbers. We need your numbers. We need your numbers. It's a lot of pressure, and I can see how some people crumble from that. You know, I will admit I've crumbled a couple of times when I was 20, and
like 2 years ago.
But that's what I would say would happen a lot. Once you mess with those numbers in that competition suite, sometimes it just blows the whole thing up.
I love competition suite actually because I can go back and change, like make adjustments to change the rankings like later on throughout the show if I need to.
Yeah, the art of not boxing yourself in, right?
Yeah. And there's always that stingy guy or girl who doesn't like to bleed into the box 5. You know, well, guess you got to open it up some.
It's me at the beginning of the season sometimes.
I know. That's the worst time, isn't it? The beginning of the season. Oh, I'm always afraid someone's going to play my tape to another one. Everyone's doing the same mistake. Hey, start on the left foot. Come on, people. Start on the right foot.
Jack, what are we doing?
So this one hits close to home. What are we doing to support our Southern California bands through the wildfires right now? So I know a lot of instructors have basically been displaced, right? And so we're beginning to run through the season. The process is going, right? Like we have competition in 5 weeks across California. So that's going to be first competition. And I suspect drum major routines aren't done in SoCal in some spots. So I really hope that that people who are listening are willing to send that money, because there are GoFundMes for high schools there are several high schools that have burnt down who are in need of funds and whatnot, and repair, as well as for the families, hundreds of families, right, who've been displaced. So if you have the ability to looking into finding ways to give to those communities, that would mean the world, not only to me, but to everyone on the West Coast. So.
It's funny. I called my buddy out there to make sure he was okay, and they were rehearsing. So,
Yep.
like, at least you got something to keep your mind off the fire that's coming, huh?
Yeah, the smoke is the bad thing, though. That's a lot of my instructor friends who usually have their rehearsals outside. They're like, "Yeah, no, we've been having to use the basketball gym to protect basically from the smoke as well too for the schools that can rehearse." So anyway, yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. How far down is the smoke going?
So I have a friend in San Diego who said it was somewhat smoky. So it was still present in San Diego, but I mean it's all in LA. It's all sort of just trapped in this like triangle in LA between the three fires that are going. But they are managing to contain them, but the winds are the problem, right? Like so, it's blowing from north to south, and it's just bringing it right into the city.
Well, Rick and
last
Woody,
summer we had those fires in Canada.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all the way down here from Canada.
It reached all the way down. Yeah, so the wind takes that smoke, and it's bad breathing weather and air. So
I know. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, God bless those people. Sorry, Jackie. Go ahead.
Turn it over to our more positive side, Woody's favorite, the Gush and Goes.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
Woody, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, I'll kick it off. I'm almost done writing. Yes. You got to be happy about that. And this is probably the earliest I've ever been since I've been writing for programs. It's awesome.
Bobby, do you want to gush and go?
Well, I'll gush about the fact that people may not know that Woody and I taught together for a number of years in the mid-2000s, and I'm still at that same program. And Woody's talked about judging, and he's judged my program as recently as this past fall. But if I'm gushing, 2024 for me personally with my programs were kind of a banner year. We happily won a local indoor color guard championships title, and then a couple months later we win a marching band championships title. And so what I've been now telling the kids is, all right, we need to just not get used to that. Like we need to, because all of those wins mean promotions into higher divisions and moving from A class into open class. But it's been a great motivation for the students. It's been a great shot in the arm for the program, I think, for recruiting. And, we all know we know competitions are a necessary part of what we do. Some of us love it more than others, but there's no taking away from the fact that a win certainly helps the program. It helps how the music programs are perceived within the community. So I'll take a win for those reasons.
And Jackie, on a side note, Jackie, I have to tell you that Bobby's show that I judged at, the hospitality room, I don't know if you have hospitality rooms in Missouri.
Oh, we do.
But the hospitality room was righteous.
Jack, what do you want to gush and go on about?
I want to gush and go about my alumni students who have come back and who are now taking the helm as instructors and who are building the programs that I set up. So I literally was looking at pictures from 6 or 7 years ago when I first started out as a drum major instructor, where I had 2 kids basically in my private instruction, and they were at 2 different schools. And those kids have gone on now to build a group of 10 kids at each school. So there's over 20 students involved in the program. Nice. So to see that seed that was planted grow into the garden that it is now, I mean, it really hit me this season looking back at it. And, that impacts lives, like we're teaching kids how to be strong leaders and how to take each step in life with strength. And, that it's sending positive rippling impacts, and it really hit me this season to see them take the helm. So anyway, I'm super, super grateful and blessed to have had such awesome students.
Rick, what do you want to gush and go on about today?
So I want to gush and go that I've pretty much survived my first podcast experience.
Woohoo!
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about that. But ultimately, I'm excited for what this school year, the rest of the school year has to bring with all of our festivals and trips and everything that we're going to do for the rest of the school year. So I'm really excited to see what my students do with tackling the music that we're going to work on, and hopefully they all behave when we go take our trip to Boston and have a good time up there. So we're just just riding the wave.
I need to throw a gush and go in for myself because I need to gush about all of our followers on social media, all of the Spintronics Guard followers on social media, because y'all are awesome and you keep things rolling, even though I haven't been posting like any original content of my own since I had the baby, and also the On a Water Break followers, because y'all have been really hyping things up on Instagram and I love to see it. I love to see it. So that's my gush. Thank you for all of our followers. And thanks, you guys.
It's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Thank you guys for a great rehearsal this week. What a way to kick off season 3 of On a Water Break. We have so many fun things planned this season. I just can't wait to share everything. So thank you to the hosts this week, Bobby, Woody, and Jack. And of course, thank you, Rick. Where can our followers find you on social media?
So you can find me on TikTok at NJ_band director, or you can also find me on Instagram at rschwartz0279. All of the links are in my TikTok bio. So, hopefully you come and follow.
One more thing, don't forget we have our YouTube channel. It has many of our interviews in full video edition, so go make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. And then, of course, the word is that people are reaching out to us to talk about things in the podcast, and we love that so much. So you can email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on social media. You can slide right into those DMs. We love having guests on the podcast. Take your phone out, make a video, tell us your gush and go. What are you gushing about this week? Tell us, what are we doing? Are you at a contest and you're frustrated about seeing ticks on a judge sheet? Video, ask what are we doing, and you might see it in our podcast. Of course, before you close out of your podcast listening app, make sure you subscribe, write us a review, share this with a friend, follow us on our social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
Now go practice.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.